Hi, welcome back to another video. For today, for this video, we're going to be covering the analysis and the game plan for Thursday, 25th of September. Heading over to the charts. For indices on the daily time frame, we have reached the 50% of the current dealing range from swing low to swing high. Similar for Nasdaq, a slightly different variation for Dow Jones, right? Because we have this swing low right here, which could be a potential draw for today, forming SMT on the lows. The reason why I'm saying that is because on the higher time frames, we are still pretty much bullish. And since price has offered 50%, it is more likely to trade higher than to trade lower. Dropping down into the 4 hours, we have this fair value gap with the order block above. And if we take a look at the hourly candles, we didn't really have a clear structure before this break lower or before this expansion lower on Wednesday. So we're gonna have to be forced to use the 4-hour swing highs and lows as our dealing range on the lower time frames. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the daily dealing range so that we have a clear perspective. Alright, so this right here is the daily swing low that I'm looking at for YM, and then right here for Nasdaq we have the dealing range on the 4 hours. Okay, so currently price in terms of order flow is still bearish, and I will be bearish until Dow Jones takes out this low right here. I think that is the most logical conclusion that I can come up with. In terms of PD arrays, we only have this bearish up close candle that is above 50%, and if we drop down into the 1 hour, you might get some breaker. Let me see. Yep, so there's a breaker right here, which is right around the 4 hours bearish order block anyways, and for ES it would be around this level as well. The highs right here, they're not very clean, and up here as well. So I am entertaining the possibility of we trade lower first, later on during London or even during the day. But for Nasdaq and S&P, they do not take out Wednesday's low. However, for Dow Jones, we are looking to take out Wednesday's low to attack this low right here on Monday. So if we were to be focused on Dow Jones, for example, we can have this swing high to this swing low. 50% is right around this level here. Anything above 50% is a potential short, but it all depends on how the Nasdaq and S&P reacts once they reach their premiums. Best case scenario, we get this in terms of like YM trading into premium, and then we short YM to take out Monday's low, and then we look to see if there's any SMT on the lows present. That would be the best case scenario, but because I personally do not trade YM, I'm not going to be engaging in this market. I'm going to just leave it be and wait for it to form SMT or SSMT on the lows to move higher. Okay, next we have the Forex. On the daily time frames, we have a pretty good reaction of the bearish fair value gap right here, as well as the inversion, even though we have a closure above. the very next candle we displaced below, that is confirmation. So for dollar, it didn't close below. In fact, it was the more bullish asset between dollar and euro. All right, it was really bullish, didn't even reach for 50% of the fair value gap below, but if you take a look at the bigger picture, it is within the 50%, and then we displaced higher, we closed above the daily swing high as well. So right now the market is moving back towards my initial bias, which is bullish dollar, and we're looking for this swing high to be taken out. I would be anticipating lower prices for euro and British pound heading into the rest of the week. Right now we have only left with Thursday and Friday, dropping down into the 4 hours. Unfortunately, similar to indices, we don't really have a clear market structure to work with because it's a Monday expansion and then a straight up reversal on Tuesday/Wednesday. So this type of profiles are very hard to get into in terms of entry, in terms of my entry, right? So it's going to be quite challenging because I would have to wait for price to trade back into this 4-hour dealing range, 50% of the 4-hour dealing range, in order for me to take a short position, right? So it's quite tricky here. Same thing, I would only need one asset to trade into 50% and then form some sort of SMT on the highs/lows for me to take a trade. So for British pound, I'm not going to be utilizing the 50% for British pound because it is slightly decoupled. Decoupled not in a way in terms of direction, but in terms of strength. So I can't possibly expect the same conditions that I have for euro and dollar on British pound. But let's just say if it is going to continue to be bearish, then I would expect this daily swing high to hold, which means this is going to be the high of the week, which is on Tuesday, right? This is going to be the high of the week for British pound, and then I'm not expecting British pound to trade into 50%. So by this standard alone, it's going to be enough to exclude it out of the conditions that I'm looking for, right? Moving into the last asset, which is euro/British pound. So just as I've expected, we formed an inside candle with a swing high right here. Right now, all that is left is price trading back down into 50% of the current dealing range on the daily for me to take a long position all the way to attack the highs right here. It's a swing high on the higher time frames. This individual dividers represents a weekly candle. Okay, sorry, I don't think it's a weekly, it's a monthly. I mean 3 months candle, so it's 3 months candles high. Okay, so we'll wait and see if it gives us the entry. In an event we continue to trade higher, then that's just too bad. It means that I'm not allowed on the train ride and train or bus ride and I'm gonna have to wait even more or consider trading the retracements instead. And that's pretty much it, right? TLDR, I should have put this in the front, but TLDR, I am bearish on the Forex, I'm bullish on Euro versus British pound. For indices, it's more like a neutral, but leaning more towards bearish until YM takes out Monday's low. And then we have to be neutral, right? We have to evaluate the market structure and what is price trying to move towards, because we're in a hard time frame discount. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this session here. It's a little bit longer than usual. Good luck trading, and I'll talk to you again.